Hello everyone, welcome. These are the finals of Lucky Grand Prix 19, going up against Gilbaugh using Big Clay. Now this game's quite the chess match, so you're in for a treat. I lost the die roll, he won it, so he gets to choose who goes first. And my hand is very offensive heavy right now. I have a block though with Woman of Thebez. And if I really need a block, I can go crouch choice and grab, Annis the Elder or something. I do have a star ability, which is John, which allows me to top deck a dominant from the deck. So I'm going to be top decking the Ascension here, if I can find it. Because I'm going second, I can potentially set this up so I can draw it and just accelerate my turn. Looks like he's going first. I found with this big clay deck, you don't mind going second. In fact, like often I just choose to go second because you really want to maximize the number of cards you get on turn one so you can have the biggest attack you can get. That's the dream. And so the idea is if you go first, sure you can give up a soul, but allows you to give more of a springboard that can really snowball the game. And the way this deck wins is it tries to get to its late game defense. It has a lot of good dominant blocks, but it just needs to start drawing cards. So opponent went Daenerys to start drawing some cards, getting his drops in, and he's definitely on some sort of Joshua deck. He does playing Promised Land, which allows him to take a card from my hand. So if you're a Joshua offense, it's pretty easy to take the Woman of Thebez here, but maybe there's a world where you have a Three Woes in your hand and you want to take the Matthew to slow me down. But he's playing Philistines, and Philistines like me drawing cards in general. So if he does take Matthew, you can just, I said, if he doesn't take Matthew, you can just let me attack with Matthew and play the herdsman and keep up with me card-wise. So he's not too worried about Matthew. He just wants to race me and put the pressure on between his Joshua offense and Promised Land and hand control. That's what Joshua's really good at, right? Not the craziest Joshua opener. Bears of the Ark comes in, draws 2 cards. I do have the choice to burn a crouch choice to try and block here. Also did have a choice to go to my 3 woes and try to stop Promised Land. But I've been kind of practicing this matchup, and I found that you're okay given the first soul. And like I said, you just really want to conserve your resources to try and get the snowball going. So I was like, okay, you can take the Woman with the Bez. I got Guardians from Glory. So, okay, he's going to discard it. That means he probably has one in his hand. All right, let's draw 3 cards. There's Resurrection, Nicodemus, and Rhydon. The opponent has a Storehouse, which is going to make my Matthew attack a lot weaker. So what's the biggest thing I could do here? I think I just want to start off by attacking with Matthew. And so the best way to do that is that I can get to my 3 woes. And yeah, I'm going to look silly by doing it now. Because, if I had perfect information, I could have woes his Promised Land blocked with Woman, upkeep negated his Storehouse, so I would have been up a soul, in theory. But also in theory, he could have attacked me with Officiators, equipped Joshua's sword, and discarded my woes, so I don't like putting my resources out against Joshua if I don't have to. Another reason why I don't like going first against Joshua decks is that if you go out and go big and put all your fortresses in play, they're just going to attack you with Joshua's Officiators in Joshua, and they're just going to discard your stuff. So if I'm going against a Joshua deck, I actually prefer to go second. All right, Matthew coming in, getting to see the opponent's hand. There is a Grapes of Wrath, a Woman of Thebez, Stricken, Nicodemus, Woes, Philistine Armor Bearer, and Plot to Kill. So it's really defensive D-heavy hand here. And I think I'm going to forget about this Grapes of Wrath earlier in the case. So here's the first. The first is going to triggers off the Matthew. So that's the first time I've used it. And then we're going to play the Resurrection here. So against a deck that plays Herdsman, I really like getting Mary the Restored. If they don't have a Humble out, she's going to be negating the Herdsman and allowing your heroes to trigger. And even if they do decide to block, she can just go grab a good NT card from my deck. And so if they do try to block with the Herdsman or just anybody in general, you can just grab your Angel of the Lord and kill them off. So really strong first attack. And then we can ban to Nicodemus. Really strong card, the inspiration behind this deck. And then for our 3rd hero, we're going to ban to John. So yeah, I really like Nicodemus because now he has the option, if I draw a Resurrection Revealer, I can ban to him or I can ban to the Joanna in my hand. Plus I get to draw cards off Nicodemus. So we're having a really good opener right now. So the first 2 cards drawn after John were the artifacts, and then Nicodemus drew Resurrection Revealer. Okay. So we're negating non-empty tomb characters. So that means Guardians from Glory got negated. So Matthew got pushed out. Now Nicodemus can ban to Resurrection Revealer. So Resurrection Revealer can go get a Gospel. And before they block, we can play it. Become a lot more conservative with my Harvest Time in this deck. I used to play it X's 100. But now I'm just doing X's 2. The reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to, number 1, get the Hopper out of their deck so that it doesn't mess up my Meek Lost Souls. And then number 2, I'm trying to get the first back in play when I have Herod's Temple out. So So this will be the second time I've triggered the first, and there's only a 4 limit activation, so you got to be careful. So second time I've done the first, and then I'm going to do it third time, fourth time, and I can't do it a fifth time. So my opponent points that out, and I have to put it back in play. So I've activated Herod's Temple 3 times, and so the Lost Soul will have to go back in play. So we're just doing some math here and trying to go back in time and see how many times I've actually used this. So I got how many times am I gonna get really greedy with the first and forget something? So for this one, I forgot I had actually drawn it off of Matthew, and I've already used it this turn. Because you want to really keep it on top of your deck. You don't want to put it in play like I'm doing right now when you don't get to use it again. So a bit of a misplay here. Turn 1 is going great aside from that. Getting to draw a bunch of cards, getting to stop him from playing Herdsman and drawing a bunch of his cards. Okay, it's his block now. Philistine Armor Bearer can go to his deck. It cannot be prevented. So the only other Philistine that I know of is Goliath. So he's going to negate some drawing that I've done. So let's see, Matthew's draws cannot be interrupted, and then Nicodemus's draws cannot be negated. So that the draw that he's going to be negating here is my draw 2 off of John, which are my 2 artifacts. And I'm really lucky I banded my Resurrection Revealer into play here because I do have a 4 drachma coin, which is giving me hand protection. The reason I didn't play out my Bethlehem Stable is because I knew if I attacked and he blocked with Goliath, I would have to present from territory. And so since I didn't play anything down from territory, I was going to try to present from hand. But I forgot I had hand protection from 4 drachma coins. So this is an oversight here for me if I'm trying to play around Goliath. I think I just got lucky by drawing into Resurrection Revealer. So the thing about Resurrection Revealer is he's a generic character. So opponent's going to kick all my guys out of battle. And then I have to present a new character. So I can't present from hand, so my hand's protected. So I have to present from territory. And normally you can't put a new character that's already been in battle into battle again. But the thing about Resurrection Revealer, he's generic. So I get to put him into battle again and he gets to activate. So I get to grab a Gospel Dominant with him or exchange. So the thing that I'm doing right now is we're realizing like, oh, Resurrection Revealer gets to trigger again. So before I can do my Marry the Restored trigger, I need to do my Resurrection Revealer trigger. So this doesn't come up often, but in this deck it actually does, where you want to exchange Resurrection Revealer with a empty Tomb Hero from your deck. And the reason why Simon's looking so appealing here is because I have the 4 drachma coin out. It's basically I get to draw an extra 4 cards. So I've drawn 3 off of Matthew, drawn 4 off of the first, drawn 1 from Nicodemus, and he had negated I draw 2 from John. So despite opponent blocking with Goliath, I think I've drawn 12 cards by the time I pop the 4 drachma coin. So not a bad start. Okay, so yeah, we went to Simon Peter, and now we get Marry the Restored trigger, which is going to get a good NT card from deck, so that's why you play the New Testament Angel of the Lord here. Don't play the Old Testament one if you're running this deck. All right, time to put down our fortresses, huh? Fishing boat coming down. Great if the opponent has dominance that are trying to remove our heroes from battle. Let's see if I remember to use Fishing Boat this game. All right, we've evened it up 1-1. So I know he has a Woes in his hand, so I'm asking him if he wants to negate Peter's 4 drachma coin before I pop it. He doesn't. He wants to hold on to that. Okay, I respect that. Drew 4 more cards. Have great blocks now. Do have a Led Astray, but it requires a Unity Meek Lost Souls. So because I put the first out there on accident, I don't have Unity anymore. So this Lost Soul isn't going to be doing much. If this does ever happen to you, you can use Annis the Elder to underdeck it. You can't underdeck 2 Lost Souls, so you can underdeck 1 Lost Soul. So in a scenario like this where you need Unity for Led Astray, you can go Annis the Elder, underdeck the first, and then play your Led Astray. So pretty cool. So this is useful if you're like trying to get rid of hoppers too. All right, pass the turn to the opponent with 7 or 8 cards in hand, plus a lot on the board. So we burned a lot of dominance that turn, but we're just trying to get ahead and get a lead and set up for Simon choosing the blocker next turn. Priest of Zeus has appeared. This is a card that is very dangerous to my deck. I do like drawing cards with this deck, so this guy is going to be a problem unless I can bounce it or choose it as a blocker and try to cheese him or something. Like I can go Simon, choose him as a blocker, activate Herod's Temple, toss him down or something. Or I do have a Joseph in play. So if he ever does search in an opportune time, I can just bounce his Priest of Zeus. I like Joseph. He's a good backup if I don't have my Simon plan online yet. Anyways, Joshua's going to start getting to work. He got Joshua's Officiators, which can take fortresses or equip weapons. And he's going to be equipping his Joshua's Sword, which will discard my Three Woes. Okay, so I was having a evil Three Woes negate his Storehouse, so that's no longer an an option to me anymore. I like being able to negate Storehouse with this deck or get rid of it somehow, because you like to look at their hand you have a few cards to look at their hand. You also have Husham the Timonite, which tries to attack their discard pile. But you don't need to get rid of their Storehouse to win. It's just like a nice to have. I think I'm gonna forget about their Storehouse a couple times during this game, because we're gonna have it get negated off and on, so it's a little hard to remember if it's effective or not. So I got the Anasty Elder, which I'm going to underdeck my first, so I can eventually get it back out of my deck and using it again. And I want to try to hold on to Led Astray for as long as possible. I know if I can just play Surreptitious Scheme here, maybe I can just get a block that way and hold on to my Led Astray for another turn. Because let's see, I can go Led Astray, discard something annoying, make sure I still have initiative, and then I can go grab an Evil NT card from my deck. Let's see, I could go grab Burial here. I could go grab, I kind of want to save Burial though. I know Burial is basically just another block for me, so I'm gonna go this one. I'm just gonna try to draw into my dominance later in the game and just try to use what resources I have available to, because I'm not always gonna be able to have initiative against Joshua and play enhancement, because they have battle dominance, they have Angel of the Lord and stuff. So if I see an opportunity to do this and get rid of like a Joshua's sword here, that's gonna be great. Joshua's sword's gonna keep discarding a bunch of stuff. So the opponent sees this, he sees that I'm just threatening to shuffle away everything, and he does not want that. So he's gonna play Three Woes as good to negate Surreptitious Scheme. That means he gets his sword back. I have a backup plan, so I can just Led Astray here. So no big deal. No big deal at all. And we get to keep our Anis around for another day. Great. Great. All right, feeling pretty good so far. Have decent blockers in our hand, and we have a way to get to Simon next turn. The face down artifact you see there is a Concealed Riches. So we can just trade out a bunch of garbage cards in our hand and get the Ascension and Simon from our reserve, and Possessing Spirit, because we have Gospel Unity. We'll be able to set up our little combo, which is playing Simon, choosing Possessing Spirit to block, and playing Ascension to abandon a bunch of heroes. And boy, do we have a lot of heroes to abandon. So this is exactly what you want to be doing with this deck. Now, the only problem is they have a Priest of Zeus. It is a problem, but hopefully we can play around that. And they do have a Grapes of Wrath. And if I'm being honest with you guys, I forgot about this card. I knew I saw it in their opening hand. I think I was just trying to keep track of everything else that I lost and forgot what dominant this was. So we're going to prepare to watch. The horror. The horror. So anyways, I'm setting up my Concealed Riches turn. Here we go. Now, so when you activate Concealed Riches, you don't have to show the opponent what cards you're putting in reserve, but you do have to show them what cards you are taking out of it. So because I'm trying to set up like a Nazareth here, I'm like, okay, well, I don't think I need Deceiver. Put Deceiver out. We'll get Possessing Spirit, get the Ascension, Nazareth, and we get one more. Grab the Root of Jesse here, or Sin the Helper. So I have the option to go, the way I'm trying to get to Simon this turn, I can go Life Through Christ, can go to reserve to get Simon. So yeah, put the Possessing Spirit down on one of their cards. Possessing Spirit's really good against Joshua if you can try to land that before they get Promised Land down, because if you leave the Possessing Spirit around, it will negate good cards in their player's territory, so they can't Teaching in Parables you, and they can't Promise Land you, and they can't Lost Child Found bounce their Promise Land. So it's like a really good card in the matchup. Anyway, Simon's coming in, choosing Possessing Spirit as a blocker, converting to Meek, and the opponent lets us play something, so we're going to play the Ascension. So we get to play a Clay hero from reserve, which is Paul, and then ban to all of our New Testament heroes. And if the opponent has any New Testament heroes, you can also ban to them here too. Let's leave some heroes out. Don't want to band everybody in because I don't need it. Now we get some value here. Not banding in Mary the Restored because I don't want to negate all my heroes. So Paul isn't the most amazing card in a banding chain. He just basically says most of the time, like, just draw 2 cards. His negate neutrals, except acts, is sometimes relevant. And if opponent does have a Burial in their hands, he does protect NT Lost Souls from that. So what's more terrifying is if somebody attacks me with my own Paul and they band him in, and I don't get to do a lot of things with my deck. Okay, so what else are we doing? We're doing Woman with Child to go grab a dominant. So I think I grab a Glory off of that, and then I get to draw 3 off Nicodemus. I get to use Zacchaeus get to use Gabriel to either ban to somebody or I don't know. So let's see, I have 15 cards in hand, so I'm at the point of the game where I can't really start drawing much more here. On an attack like this, it would have been really nice if I could have gotten to my Matthias, because this is the perfect thing to do. I know they're not really playing orange enhancements, and so just being able to bounce Possessing Spirit back to my hand so I can do this all again next turn is really strong. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out what the last thing to do here is. I don't even know which effect I'm doing. I think I'm just doing Gabriel right now, which takes a Silver Gospel card. Did you know Golgotha is a silver gospel card? So you can take Golgotha off of Gabriel, which is another way to get to Possessing Spirit next turn. Okay, so in a perfect world, I know about their Grapes of Wrath, and so I know that they can just play Grapes to kill Possessing Spirit and force me to attack with somebody else. And so to play around that, I do have a Rhydon in my hand. So even though I didn't get to Matthias, I still have a way around this. So if I move my monkey head, you'll see that I have a Rhydon there. So I can play a enhancement. Oh wait, play an enhancement on your meek hero. So I have to play enhancement on meek hero. So I don't have I have what is that card? Root of Jesse. So I could play Root of Jesse on a meek hero and bounce the Possessing Spirit. Now he doesn't have any evil cards left in battle, and he won't be able to grapes my attack. Okay, so right now we're resolving some Priest of Zeus triggers because I did do a lot of drawing and I wasn't able to find a way to bounce the Priest of Zeus here. So I get to lose my fortresses, which is not what you want to see in the Joshua matchup. Well, the fortresses are not long for this world against Joshua anyways, so I don't necessarily count on them to stick around in this matchup, but having Priest of Christ Priest of Zeus just delete a bunch of stuff doesn't feel the best in the world. So yeah, I'm considering using my Rhydon, but for some reason I forget they do have a grapes, and I'm like, they probably don't have a grapes, so it's your initiative. Oopsie, I make a mistake, man. I make a mistake. I really wish I could hold Root of Jesse for another attack. I like just pushing Root of Jesse plus Simon. It's really hard to stop. So which grapes do you like better? Version A, version B? I think they're the same text, right? Okay, so I get to lose how many heroes here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So casually just shuffle 7 heroes in. Yikes. So all of a sudden my big advantage is it's not looking as advantageous as it once did. So because it's 1-1, all right. So now I gotta contemplate who do I want to send into battle. I'm not working with a lot here, so I think my best hope is to go out with someone and hope they block with someone small, and then I can glory of the Lord and try to win a battle. So let's just push Lazarus, because if they have a Herdsman of Gerar, we don't want them blocking with Herdsman right now. So I think the Goliaths negate play draw abilities and band abilities. I think that only affects the current battle. So Grapes of Wrath started a new one, so that's why I'm able to draw a card here, I think. So another Priest of Zeus trigger. So let's see, he's discarded 4 cards from my territory this turn. So my board was looking a lot fuller at this point in the game. Now it's looking pretty sparse. So that's the thing about this deck. You can take punches square on the chin with this deck, and it's not going to be game over or lights out like other decks. You got more resources, just bide your time, play your outs, let your defense buy you the time you need for your offense to get back in the game. Because all you need is another Ascension, some more heroes in play. Just like imagine drawing Nicodemus. Nicodemus goes to another Empty Tomb hero, draws 2, you're back in. You got 5 cards, no big deal. All right, so I did not hope he blocked with his best character. Ironically, maybe if I had not converted Lazarus to Meek, I could have played Lost Child Found here. That's okay. I probably wasn't breaking through here to this turn. So yeah, messed up. Didn't go right on. Bounced Possessing Spirit. Keep my lead here. Plus, I would have been able to reuse Possessing Spirit to attack next turn. The cool thing about the Root of Jesse is that it actually protects that card from opponents. So I think I was trying to hold on to this for later, because if I go up in soul advantage and he has a grapes in his hand, usually it's a really free block to just block and then grapes the blocker. But when I have Root of Jesse out, he's protected from opponents, so he cannot shuffle. So usually these type of effects are like protect from harm, and harm is like evil or neutral cards. So if you're here on you're protected from harm, that means you're protected from evil and neutral stuff. So the Root of Jesse is unique in that fact, where it actually gives more comprehensive protection. For some reason, I really like the not full art better than this one. This card's really cool. It's Old Testament and New Testament, so not only can your Storehouse get it, you have a bunch of cards that go get New Testament cards from your reserve too. So it's a really nice card to get out of the reserve. I think it's perfect in the reserve. I don't think it's that good in the main deck. Okay, so let's see. Have I played my territory class card for turn? I don't think I have. So I could probably play an Angelic Guidance here. Oh wait, no, yeah, I've already played my territory class, Life Through Christ. So now we have a couple of territory class cards in our hand, just stuck around there. So what I did during my discard phase is I played Golgotha and placed it down on the Possessing Spirit. I did forget about the fact that they had a Three Woes. Three Woes was on good, or like it was a good Three Woes, now it's negating evil cards. So they could just choose to negate the Possessing Spirit, which is not ideal. I do like the fact that Possessing Spirit is shutting off their teaching and parables. And I really want to block him with the Woman of Thebez right now. I need to figure out what I'm going to say. Thebez. I wonder what the biblical pronunciation is. So yeah, I went from being very confident in how the game was progressing to very uncertain now. I mean, I do have a Nazareth, and I felt, and the cool thing about Possessing Spirit in this deck, like if they do have a Storehouse and you do play your Nazareth down, you are actually negating their protection. So even though my Possessing Spirit's now negated and the Storehouse is back on, the way layers work in Redemption is because the way my protection was active before his protection was reactive, then I'm still protecting decks discard piles from searching right now. So Nazareth is probably not going to be long for this world because of a Priest of Zeus and a Joshua in play. It's going to blow up my Nazareth, which part of me is relieved by. I have a bunch of cards in my hand that do searching, but if I really needed to search, I did have a Lost Child found to bounce it and get out of this sticky situation I've been in. So the way Redemption rules currently are, by the time you're watching this video, they might have changed, but if a card like Nazareth is in battle or like in your territory during the battle phase, and he has a card like Joshua's Sword that discards it, that effect on that fortress, that artifact, whatever, it's going to linger around till the end of the phase. And so like if I blocked with Woman of Thebez here, he can't use Stone Cures to go search for Captain and negate Woman of Thebez. So that's like a quirk of the rules, how they are right now. But they are going to change this, it sounds like, so that the cards outside of battle, like Nazareth or like fortresses, artifacts, or sites, as soon as they leave play, their effects will stop happening. So under the new rules change, I would not have got the block there because he would have been able to discard Nazareth and now he can start searching again. So then he could have got Captain to stop my Woman of Thebez block. So I asked a question to Aggie. I said, Aggie, if I have a Woman of Thebez in my opponent's territory, if I were to have a Possessing Spirit in my hand and try to play it down on their character, do I still have unity in order to do that? And the answer is yes, you do. Is because you don't control Woman of Thebez anymore. But if you were to regain control of her somehow, then the unity would stop working on Possessing Spirit. So you definitely need unity when you place him down in order to get the place trigger. But let's say, because for a brief second, I did control Woman of Thebez back there. And so for a brief second, his stuff in his territory was no longer being negated. So even though that was the case, he didn't like fall off or something. That makes sense. The place is permanent unless he gets brought into battle. And just because he gets negated doesn't mean he falls off. If you want to make him fall off or not get placed down in your territory, you have to negate him the phase he was placed down in. So for example, if like during my prep phase, I'm putting him down in your territory and then you woes him immediately, then he'll go back to my territory. He won't start negating good cards in my territory because he has to be a cause or like an effect of the place. So I don't know, just a tricky little card. I do think this card is underplayed. I do think this card plus Simon being able to choose it as a blocker is really, really strong. But the constraint here is like you probably have to play a mostly New Testament evil, gospel evil characters. And so like the best ones are you get Sadducees like I'm doing, or you could do Herods, or you could do Thieves. I mean, there's some Pharisees, but they're just not good. Like you got Nicodemus, you got like Entrapping Pharisees, but I just don't think you have enough to really build a dedicated Pharisee deck. Maybe there's like a Sadducee Pharisee deck in there or whatever. Anyways, I'll come back to that thought later. But right now, let's get back to the game. I have a way to choose Possessing Spirit as a blocker. I was able to get to my Simon. Now I have initiative and I can play Root of Jesse to bounce Possessing Spirit back to my hand. So this is really good play. This is another reason why Root of Jesse is really good. So let's say you don't need to play it as a territory class. You could just attack with Simon, choose Possessing Spirit to block, and then Root of Jesse, or ride on Root of Jesse. So even if they have a dominant like Christian Martyr, because you played ride on, you could now protect Simon from getting martyred or something. So yeah, just Root of Jesse. If you're playing Simon the Zealous, you should probably be playing Root of Jesse too. And if you're playing Simon the Zealous, you should probably be playing Possessing Spirit. And if you don't, you're just losing out on a really strong suite of cards here. So if you're watching this video, there's some takeaways I'm giving you for free. And the backbreaking thing about this deck is I can play 2 Possessing Spirits and I can pretty much always get to Simon. And then I have like a bunch of different tools to like stop the best thing that stops Simon. Like dominant blocks were usually the best thing to stop him. So I'm like playing Fishing Boat, You Will Remain, Root of Jesse, Life Through Christ. Just a bunch of ways to make sure Simon stays in battle and gets to play his cards. This has felt like one of the strongest offenses I've ever worked on. Even stronger than Nativity, it feels like. So I don't. It's a little bit too early to really say the true power level of this deck, but it does have a lot of potential. And I was telling Augur the Wise, hey, if Nationals was tomorrow, this is the deck that I would run in Nationals, which is crazy. It's a 100-card deck. You know, if you told me last year, hey Tim, like 100-card deck, it's gonna be good. I'm like, no, there's no way the 100-card deck is good. 50 cards, 51 all the way. But I think there's some real advantages here. Getting to play 2 Ascensions, 2 Possessing Spirits, a bunch of dominance. Like you're never running out of gas. You can take a lot of hits and a lot of punishment from defenses out there and still come back. You wouldn't even thought the last turn I lost 7 heroes in a battle phase, right? I was like, okay, just have 7 more. We're still doing okay on cards. You know, we don't have a lot, and our blocks aren't the best, I'll admit, right now. But we just have to give our deck some more time to draw more cards and get to our best blocks. That's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to slowly just chip in, make sure the opponent doesn't get to block while they want to block and dictate. And we're trying to dictate the terms of the engagement. So that's what this deck's really good at. I bet his hand's just full of really good evil enhancements and stuff. Okay, Joshua's coming back in. All my fortresses and artifacts are just fodder for the Joshua. Losing Sin the Helper is pretty unfortunate. Okay, so he was able to grab a Builder's Sword, which is pretty good against what I've got going on. So the best block I had here was, or is like a, let's see, is he negating characters? I'm trying to think if he is. He's going Joshua to Officiators to Stone Cure. So even if I block with Possess, or with my, whatever these guys are, Chief, Scribe, if he has Captain of the Host in his deck, he can exchange Stone Carriers to Captain, negate my card, and draw 3 cards. So I think the only reason I would block there is if I think he actually has Captain in his hand and he's just gambling. So I would have loved to take a black enhancement out of my deck. Even though souls are protected, I still think I have another Surreptitious Scheme in there. Yeah, and he's protecting lost souls from evil cards, so even though he's searched, I'm not able to underdeck. So for every search he does, though, I do get to underdeck 2 lost souls. So like just 2 searches and I'll be able to underdeck 4 lost souls. So that's like another interesting note here in this game. And he's currently not negating them anymore. Man, what I'd give for Authority of Christ right now. If I can just go like attack with Simon, choose a blocker, lay right on to Authority, I get to blow up all of his stuff. It does sound very appealing. I think one of the better cards in my deck is the New Covenant. If I have this card early, it almost ensures me I can continue to have gas later on in the game. Like right now, I'm just really needing some enhancements. Untouchables is fine. It's great. Get to draw some cards, but the opponent does get a Priest of Zeus trigger. He's taking out my Joseph. He's slowly chipping away at the ways I have to bounce Simon the Zealous. This deck has a lot of ways to bounce him. Even though he got rid of my Sin the Helper, he got rid of my Joseph, I still have Lost Child Found and stuff. Second Concealed Riches coming in. Okay, so what do I want to get from my reserve? I don't know. There's not a lot in there. I definitely want that Deceiver. I think that's the main reason why I'm doing this. Maybe get it like a negate help. Get a Goliath's Curse here. And I won't be able to activate another artifact this turn, so I'm not sure how useful these other cards are going to be. But maybe I'll need a Book of the Covenant for next turn. So let's see. I think I can send one of these angels away. I really wish I had a way to get to the Ascension right now. That would be perfect. But I don't. I have a bunch of ways to get to Disciples, but I'm shipping them all off in my reserves. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Ship them off. Okay, what's my strongest attack right now? I think it's, I need to get a white character down so I can play Lost Child Found. It's my Simon. I really love bouncing my Golgotha. You just get to play it back down and get another Gospel Evil character. Is really, really smart. Or not smart, but it's just like really solid. You get to bounce Possessing Spirit. If it gets negated, we can just put him down again. No big deal. Also like it because you can like bounce your Woman of Thebez. The reason I'm keeping it, the reason I didn't bounce Woman of Thebez in there is that opponent can only control one unique copy of Woman of Thebez, and I know his deck's running one, and so like I'm basically not letting him play his Woman of Thebez down, and my Woman of Thebez is really useless for him. If he blocks with it, he can't give me another Canaanite because he has to give from his territory. So here's another attack I really like. I like going, if I know my opponent's playing Lord of the Lord, I like to go Gabriel, Banded to Simon, choose Possessing Spirit to block. That way, even if they have Glory, can still get through. So that's what I'm playing around now. Okay, so he's Crouch Choice. I do get some searching triggers, which is very welcome right now. Underdecking 2 Lost Souls is great. Okay, I think this is another battle dom I have to fight through. The Warrior Overtaken. Let me get my underdeck triggers. Underdeck 2 Lost Souls. Now another search he does. I'm going to limit him down to 1 Lost Soul, which is really relevant at the point in the game. Let's say like he attacks me next turn and let's say I deal with Builder's Spear somehow, and then I get soul, I can still underdeck my Lost Souls. So like, let's say he rescues one, and then he plays Son of God on the other one, and then he plays Second Coming. After his Second Coming, he has to search, right? So I would get to underdeck a Lost Soul before he can rescue. So if I somehow don't keep drawing Lost Souls here, then that's maybe what could happen. Okay, so he's Warrior Overtaking. He's discarding my Mary to add a Philistine to battle. Even though I took out Goliath earlier, the Armor Bearer is coming in like a hot potato, a bonanza. And this is another more searching triggers for me, which is what I want. Here comes Goliath again, the promo version Goliath. Okay, so he's going to withdraw my guys, and I can present a new guy from territory or hand. So I'm thinking about, okay, what are the best heroes I could choose here? And eventually I find a line I really like. I do have an Angel of the Winds in my hand. So if I present him, his exchange is not getting negated, but I can go Angel of the Winds to Matthias and bounce Goliath. And now it's Matthias versus Possessing Spirit. And so even if they have Glory of the Lord, that's not going to stop me from beating him. And the icing on the cake is I get to take a card from the top of my deck. I have 5 cards, or 5 disciples, so I get to look at the top 5 and take one. Matthias is one of the best cards in the deck. There's that authority I was talking about. There's 2 Lost Souls on top too. Wait, I have to bottom those. So oops, I think I mistakenly kept those on the top where I should have bottomed those. So even though that was a mistake, I think it's a mistake in the favor of the opponent because I have 2 Lost Souls at the top of my deck within the top. Basically next turn out, I know I'm going to be drawing 2 Lost Souls, and that's not what I want. So I would have much rather put those on the bottom if I had the chance. I don't know. I don't remember if I put those on the top or the bottom. Trying to remember what happened here. All right, it's my opponent's turn. I have 1 Lost Soul in play. He's threatening to attack and get his 3rd Lost Soul. He hasn't played Son of God or Second Coming yet. He's going to use 3 Woes to negate one of my Plotting Priests. I was really on the fence about this guy. Like earlier today, I was thinking like, okay, what if I don't play Gospel Sadducees for this defense? What if I ran like Philistines instead? But this game has made me think about like, okay, the Plotting Priests can be kind of clutch. They are really threatening. They're really good. Okay, so something I think I could have done a lot better was did have a Christian Martyr in my hand. So before they could have attacked, I could have Christian Martyred the guy with the Builder's Spear on him, and then I would have had a lot of good blocks here. I think I was getting a little distracted here. I had Deceiver. I have Husham in my reserve, and so I was really trying to set up the Glory of the Lord plus Husham the Timonite, but I played Glory, and then I looked around, and I saw he had a Storehouse protecting his discard pile. So before I went and blocked with my Deceiver into Husham, like, okay, shoot, I can't do that. Let's pivot. Let's go to Annis the Elder, underdeck my Lost Soul. Oh wait, I forgot about protection. So I forgot about Storehouse protection. I forgot about Builder's Spear, even though earlier in the game I was really aware of that. I'm just kind of starting to lose track of things here. And Stone Carries gets to trigger. So there's his captain. He gets to draw 3. So I really like Annis here. Again, if he's playing Glory of the Lord, guess who's a priest here? Only lone priest could play enhancements. So even if he has Glory of the Lord, it's not going to do anything. Okay, so he's going to ban to the Bearers of the Ark. So now I'm faced with a very interesting thing. I know I have Glory going. I have 1 Goliath's Curse, which can negate and discard a good card. And I have a Christian Martyr. So I'm thinking here, so like, okay, how can I get Annis the Elder alone in battle versus 1 person? So I could go Goliath's Curse, negate and discard Joshua. Okay, so that's going to kick out officiators. Now I'm staring down captain and bearers. And I can Christian Martyr captain, and then I'll be winning better the numbers. But guess what? Bearers of the Ark is a lone priest. And so if he had banded to any other Joshua hero, I think I could have got this block. But I'm just slowly realizing like, okay, no matter what I do here, like I can negate and discard officiators, martyr, captain, but I'm still fighting 2 big people in battle. Like I need to kick Joshua out of battle. That's a given. I wish there was a way to keep officiators in battle and kick everyone else, but the way my hand is, I don't think I can make that work. Another thing I missed this turn, I got a little tunnel visioned and panicked. I had a Deceiver in my hand, and I have an Outsiders in my deck. So he definitely has board advantage, and I could have gone Glory, Deceiver, go get Outsiders under deck. Like how many brigades did he have in play? He had 3, because it's like Builder's Spear, Gold, and then Teal. So I could have underdecked all of his heroes, and that would have felt amazing. So yeah, I only thought of this line like when I was taking a shower after the game, just thinking about like what happened this game and some of the crucial turns. So I definitely punted this block away. To have to give up a soul where I definitely could have not given up a soul there. Okay, so the only thing saving me right now is this soul drought. a man-made soul drought, so to say. So he's probably at the point of the game where he has Son of God Second Coming. I don't know if you can see what his metrics are there. I know my screen's a little covering them, but he doesn't have a lot of cards left in his deck. There's a good chance he has Son of God and Second Coming, and now he just needs to wait for me to draw 2 Lost Souls, or maybe even 3 because of the nuance I was talking about earlier. Because if he searches with Second Coming, then I get to underdeck 1, and he's only negating 1 of the plotting priest right now. So we're at a very interesting point of the game. We both have 3 Lost Souls. None of us have played Son of God Second Coming yet. My deck is so big, I haven't drawn my Son of God Second Coming yet. So if I draw Son of God Second Coming, then I win. But if I draw too many Lost Souls, I lose. So I drew my Second Coming here. Second Coming. So I do have a way. So I'm trying to think right now, okay, how can I get to my Son of God? I play cards that I play 4 heroes in my deck that can go get Son of God. I play 2 Resurrection Revealers and 2 Women with Child. So I didn't draw any of those, nor did I draw a way to get to those. Okay, and he's going to take a chance, and he's just going to Son of God my Lost Soul right now, and then Second Coming, so I don't get an underdeck trigger. So the next Lost Soul I draw is going to be game over. So the pressure is on. Guess what's in my reserve? The Great White Throne. Earlier in the game, I had shipped this off to the reserve because I thought I wasn't going to need it, and now the turn where I need it the most is the turn where I can't get to it. So that's how life works sometimes. I had multiple opportunities to get to this card, but I never imagined myself being in this scenario. Okay, so I'm thinking like, okay, if I draw my Son of God here, I win. So what are my options? I can try to attack with Matthew, try to look at his hand and draw cards and draw a Son of God. But while I'm thinking about that, I forget his hand is protected. Or I can just try to, pass the turn and try to wait this out. Hopefully I'll draw my Resurrection Revealer before I draw a Son of God. And that's not like a great feeling either, right? He does have a Medad in play, which can search my deck for Lost Soul. But I have a Christian Martyr, so I can blow that guy up right now. So I don't have to worry about that being a win condition. So I can try to soul drought him. Look at my discard pile, 30 cards, 48 cards left in deck. I'm just trying to think of my odds of like, okay, given the amount of cards I've seen, given the outs I have, like what are my best chance of winning here? So I decided to just yellow Matthew and try to draw cards and try to draw into Son of God, but I forget that his hand's protected. So it was like a really just like roll the dice play, but I'm prevented from actually even rolling the dice because in protection. But I was willing to risk this game on drawing Son of God right here or Lost Soul. It was way more likely to draw Lost Soul than Son of God there. So you'd tell me if that was a bad choice or not. I'm interested to, run the numbers here. What do you think's like highest probability of winning here? Do I just like pass and try to draw an out? Or I don't know if they have a way to get back Medad or not. Probably not while I'm negating neutrals by any means. But I don't know. Sitting here and waiting. All right, opponent's block. I just have a Matthew and a Rhydon and an Untouchables. Not the strongest attack you've ever seen in the world. I would have much rather this had to be Authority of Christ in my hand. But there's some real relevant text here. It says if you play this card, you can interrupt the battle, protect heroes, and battle from harm. You bounce a character, cannot be negated by Pharisee or Sadducee. So he knew about the Untouchables because I activated the star ability earlier, but he made a misstep and he blocked with his Nicodemus and he gave me initiative. Nicodemus is a Pharisee, so Untouchables is CBN, and so I get to rescue a soul and I get to finish the game off. The Son of God, Second Coming. Yeah. So I think I really lucked out here. I think we would have at least got to play another turn because I would have got to Christian Martyr his character, and then if I had drawn a Lost Soul on my next turn, I would have lost. But if I would have drawn a way to get to Son of God, then I would have won. So really close game. I want to go look back at the tapes and see about that turn where I had top decked instead of underdecked with Messiah. I want to see if that was like relevant to the outcome of the game here. So there I did Matthias and then got Nicodemus, and let me just see where I put those cards looking at the game log there. So yeah, I sent those to top, and then did I shuffle my deck afterwards? Oh, there's Matthias, there's Nicodemus, there's his turn. I underdeck a card. Wait, what happens? No, he attacks. I go Annis. I try to underdeck a card. I move it back, and then Gly's Curse something. What do I do with Gly's Curse? I take out his guy, and then plays a Medad, and then yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe when I because you would have thought that I would have drawn Authority of Christ and 2 Lost Souls right there, but instead I only draw 1 Lost Soul. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Maybe when I moved Lost Soul to the bottom of the deck, I changed the order of it somehow on accident. it. So anyways, I don't think it impacted the outcome of the game. So regardless of where I put those cards, I didn't draw them on my next turn. So okay, all right, that's the game. So the final result of the game is I won 5-4, and that was the finals. So it really came down to the last couple of turns there. This was my deck. So you see Outsiders was the top of my deck right there. So if I had lost this block, pass turn to him, Christian Martyr, his me dad, goes to me, I can go Outsiders, David, Surreptitious Scheme for turn. And then I have a choice to make with Surreptitious Scheme if I want to draw a lot of cards off the star ability or try to wait it out. I don't know who would have won this game. And then if it would have passed the turn again, I would have drawn New Covenant, Authority, Temple Veil. So yeah, I would have had 2 turns to try and get through. And New Covenant could have gone to Spirit as a Dove to get Son of God. Anyways, this is a bunch of what ifs, but it's always interesting to look at the what ifs and kind of think about what would have happened. Because from a strategy standpoint, I'm really interested to see like what would have been the strategically better decision to make there. We're in this really weird part of the game where it's like a showdown. Whoever blinks first loses. So I think I just got lucky to get out of that unscathed, or relatively unscathed. So some mistakes on both of our parts. Like I think I choked a block or 2 there, and then he choked a block on the last turn of the game. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.